Hey folks, John Doyle from OptixEQ, and today's video race of the day is Gulfstream Park Race 6 on Wednesday, January 26th. And before we get into that, we have a big weekend coming up with the NHC and some big racing from Gulfstream. And I just want to let you know that we do have a special offer for those people who want to play the NHC or are playing the NHC, and even people that are not. It's 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You get a note and plot for $50, plus you get this bonus report where we give you 8 to 12 optional play selections each day. So even if you're not playing the NHC, it's good to see who we think might be flying under the radar. We look at horses that are going to be probably value or long shot plays. In fact, last August when we had this report, it did quite well. I think the overall return was 29% for the 40 plays for the 3 days, highlighted by Rose Crystal, a $41.80 winner, and another $22 winner. So good to have if you're playing or not, I would think, for this weekend. So take a look at that. I'm going to dig into race 6. It's a red plot. Again, we've been through this, but I keep repeating it. You know, this is not a plot that's typically as formful, but sometimes you can create opportunity in these plots too. So we're going to use this one. The contention is a snowflake, which is light, and the speed rating is 23, which is about average. But notice the contention is a snowflake, but interesting, we have 3 horses that want the lead, that have E run styles. And notice one is green and the other 2 are red. What that means is that the fit of the plot for that run style is best for the 3 and worse on the 7 and 9. So again, that would give the advantage to the 3 over the 7 and 9 early, of the early horses that need the lead. And we're going to get into it a little bit in the grid, and I'll show you how we kind of decipher. So that's kind of my first assessment on this. If there was a horse that could maybe, you can see visually on the plot, be the speed of the speed and maybe try to wire this field, possibly it would be the 3, okay? 7 and 9 would be compromised. Now the 5 is interesting because this is a horse that we've had discussions a lot about before. Horses that are in quadrant 3 squares. This horse is going to be an EP. This horse, and when we get to his PPs, he's going to be a horse that likes to sit up close. He's not going to be so close because you got the 7 in the race, the 9 in the race, the 2 looks faster. I think that might compromise him, and is a horse that's going to get bet, probably. So this is a horse that some people like playing these horses on the plot. And look, I'm not going to judge, but me, no. I mean, if it'd be different if he didn't have all those horses above him on the line, I would like him better. So if, for instance, if the 2 and the 9 weren't there, I would kind of like him better than I like him now. So horse that I'm going to probably be against, but we'll look at the grid when we get to it. The pressers, the 2, 4, and 6, the 2 looks the best of that group. Just visually, you can see on the plot, he's higher, he's a square, the rest of them. And then you have the 1 and the 8 as our closers. The 1 does not plot at the surface and distance. This is a horse that's been running in short sprints over at Charlestown, and he's a little bit interesting on that standard plot, and he's a big price. So pay attention to him. And the 8 looks like another logical horse that is one of the best closers in the race, and he's going to be back there. So it all depends on if the 3 can clear or not, and how much pressure the 7 and 9 can play to the 3. And we'll go from there. So to me, 3 looks like the best of the early paces. The 2 looks like the best of the stalkers, and the 1, 8 are closers that might get some pace to run at in this race. So it'll be interesting to see. So I'm going to start off with the number 3. Kingston Queen is a horse that's, you can see, I mean, she kind of needs a lead to be our best. That's where she usually is. She breaks on top when she doesn't. She had one excuse when she didn't break up on top on her 3rd race here at the maiden claiming level. But she can press in her win. She was pressed and kicked away. So there's a horse that can take some pressure and still win. Now that was a much cheaper level, but you'll see this race is pretty muted in terms of class. And you can see the speed rating is 64 and a 72, which is low. And you can see the last 2 races now of Kingston Queen, she's been against better, 71 to 79 range, 72. So she's running against better, but she's maintaining that speed figure of a 67, 69. This horse is a contender, right? If she can clear the other 2 speeds, she possibly can keep going. She's a big price, 15 to 1 in the morning line. I don't know if you get this. This is her 3rd race off a layoff. gets a little drop, could be dangerous. The other speed, which I thought was a little bit interesting, even though she doesn't rate where the 3 does, is the 7. And that's the reason is because this horse's first 2 races were on synthetic, and her first race was really good on synthetic. She just cleared the field, went wire to wire at Arlington in a short sprint race. Then they tried to stretch her out in a stakes race. She dueled and just faded badly. She wasn't ready for that level of competition. Then they went on dirt with her, non-winners to a lifetime, and she's really done no running. They raised her up in class the next out at Hawthorne. She did no running there either. So a little concerned about that. Now she does get Lasix for her belly, gets a switch to Ortiz. She'll probably take money too. Coming off a layoff, I just don't know if she clears the 3, and if she doesn't, what does that say? Is she really going to pass horses in a stretch? Yeah, I mean, some of her races she ran against better, but I don't know from a class level she's even on par with the 3. So I prefer the 3 over the 7, especially at the price. Okay, 7-2 versus 15-1. To me, it's a no-brainer. The number 9, Naughty, the other speed, second off a layoff now, but she's really not run fast enough. Again, her best race was in Arlington, and it was sprinting, short sprint. But her win was at the maiden 25 level as opposed to the 7 who was winning at the maiden special level. So this horse looks like it lacks class. I don't know if it's going to be able to put some pressure, may have some early speed versus these, but can't see her beating the 3 and the 7 in this situation. Okay. So again, I think it reiterates, just looking at the form, that the 3 for us is the best speed of the speed. The pressers that we took a look at was the 2. I thought this horse was at least on the plot, was better, one of the better pressers in the race. She's not really, I mean, it looks like she's getting class relief. She's going from claiming 20 to 12, but that was at Tampa. So I would think this is a lateral move or even a move up in class. Yeah, she did have trouble to start. She rushed, she pressed, she couldn't keep up. Had a great race. She didn't keep up 2 races back, another concern. That was more kind of around today's level. Her numbers have been in the 60s. Now, this is kind of her 3rd maybe race off a layoff. Is there some room for improvement? Possibly. But, and she's just a little bit of a question mark, especially the first time synthetic surface. Okay. But I wouldn't discount her completely. She's an exotics chance, especially at 8-1 in her plot. I give her consideration, but I probably wouldn't key her on top. The 5 was the other one I thought, we talked about. This is the square in quadrant 3. Perfect trip, winning a maiden at 16 down level. Now running first time versus winners, first time synthetic, 3rd off a layoff for Hess. Reyes was on this horse, so the Wind Rider is gone. I think the Wind Rider, I think Reyes ends up on the 2. If you're a fan of this stuff, yeah, he runs up on the 2. So that's kind of interesting. Again, it's a horse that you could see doesn't really pass horses either, so she's going to have to be up close. And I'm just a little concerned about where her plot is. Does she stay up with some of those speeds? And she's moving up in class, so she's questionable. Especially she's 5-1. Again, I prefer the 2 over her at a price. So you can see 3 over the 7 I'm preferred on price, 2 over 5. And let's go to the 1 and 8. Those are our closers. Those are the other ones we thought they had some luck. This IB Nasty hasn't run at 6 furlongs. So don't know how fast this horse could run or slow. I do know that this horse ran a 69 at Charlestown, which would be competitive in this race and coming from off the pace, which she could be doing tomorrow. Now it's going to be her first time synthetic. Her last 2 races were against better. She did no running though. I mean, and in her last race, she didn't get a push. That was her first race off a 51-day layoff. So it could be that they're prepping her for this race. This is a low profile connections. They never ship into here. Just find it interesting that this horse ships in. Again, you remember her plot, she's that big square in quadrant 2, almost bordering 2 and 4 at 6 furlongs. At 6 furlongs, I don't know. Maybe she has some kick. I would not discount her, especially at 15-1, another 15-1 shot. So I thought she had a look in a race that's kind of chaotic. Okay. And then the other closer, the 8, a little bit more logical, but another horse just broke a mating, but she at least did it on synthetic. She's run 3-4 times in synthetic, all kind of improving kind of races. Gets a jockey that really knows this track. He's here full time at Gulfstream Park. It's 4.5 to 1. You know, I can't really knock this horse. You know, other than maybe this horse regresses off a big effort, or I mean, even if she backs up a little bit, numbers wise, she should be pretty strong in here. So she's a strong contender at 8 to 1. Stretching out a little bit to 5.5 furlongs, but to me, the 1, the 8, the closers look pretty good. I think the 3 is the best of the speed. 2 is the best of the stalkers. Watch the board, see how you want to play it. But those 4 are my viable contenders in Gulfstream Park Race 6 on Wednesday, January 26th. Thanks for listening. If you want to hear more of these videos, just subscribe to our YouTube channel. Contact us, OptixEQ.com, and thanks for listening.